I don't know what's going on with my hair today, but the party must go on. Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cerise Fairfax. I'm located in Sosua, Dominican Republic, in a province called Puerto Plata, and I'm coming at you right now from my apartment in the neighborhood called Los Charamicos. Guys, I just want to give you a little tidbit on what I do here. If it's your first time joining me, once again, my name is Cerise, and I help people to find rentals in the Dominican Republic, short-term, long-term, real estate, and I also help people to relocate. I wrote a book, and we're going to talk about that near the end of this video. But today we're going to talk about 4 things that I did right. Smart things that I did in the Dominican Republic. Now, I didn't have a plan to come. And I think that was one of the smart things, but it may not be the smart thing for everybody. So I'm not going to tell you not to have a plan. But first, let's just talk about me. So I came here for a 2-week vacation to edit one of my books. I went back to Canada, where I'm from, and 6 weeks later, I was right back in the Dominican Republic because I couldn't stop thinking about being here. And I came with a one-way ticket thinking I was only going to stay a month. 6 years later, and I'm still here. I've spoken about my story many times on my channel, and I will also do that again in the next coming months. But right now, I just want to talk about in this video. So 4 things that I did right. One of the things was learn the language. Now, in the Dominican Republic, you don't need to know Spanish in order to get around, get an apartment, and understand the culture and also the traditions. You really don't need to even speak a lick of Spanish at all. But speaking Spanish helps a person in any country if you speak the language. You know that. Now, Dominican Spanish is a little bit different from the world Spanish, if you will. There's kind of like, in England, in Britain, they have a different English than Canada. We all have different accents around the world, right? So the Dominican accent is a little bit different than what you would learn on Duolingo. But don't let that stop you, because I didn't let it stop me when I first got here. I only knew how to speak gracias, how to say gracias, and that means thank you. And then I had to learn de nada. And every day after that, I pushed myself to learn a new word, and pretty much until I was able to speak to the locals. And then once I was able to speak to the locals, they would help me along with my language when I mispronounced a word, which I still do till this day. And I don't speak fluent Dominican Spanish, but I am pretty good and I can have conversations. And I'm very proud of myself for learning a language at age 46. I'm not 46 any longer. I'm 52. But at 46, I never thought I would ever learn a new language, and I did. And I'm still learning each and every day. So one of the smart things that I did do was throw myself from Duolingo app into the conversations online with people, and I would watch movies with subtitles in Spanish. I did little things, just little things. It's a hot day today, guys. I am sweating. Oh my gosh, here's my cloth right here. So I did little things to learn the language. And, some people, they want to dive right in. They want to take lessons, and you can also do that here. My buddy, Gustavo, he teaches lessons from wherever on WhatsApp video or in person here, wherever you would like, from a restaurant, from our Airbnb, from your hotel. He charges $80 American a month for 16 lessons, which is not bad, but I still haven't found the time to dedicate to that. I've learned living here that I'm not very good with living on a monotonous schedule. And so, and that's a good thing. And so, for me, I had to learn on the streets. And the more I used the Spanish that I learned, the more I learned Spanish. I had to throw myself in there. So that's one of the smart things that I did coming to the Dominican Republic and deciding to stay here. And, it doesn't matter, even if you only know how to say bathroom and you need to use the bathroom, all you have to do is just go up to someone and say, baño. And they know exactly what you're talking about. Sosua, Puerto Plata, Cabarete, they're no strangers to tourists and expats here. And they know that you don't speak the language when you just go up and say one word, but they definitely will help you by directing you to where you need to go if you need to use the washroom. All right. The other thing that I did that was really smart was I caught on quick to tips. When I first got here, I was tipping large. I was like, I can remember on the beach at one time because I didn't know I was going to be here for this long. And so I thought, oh, I'll be here for like a month, And so I was on the beach and I was giving people like, 500 peso tips, which is like $10 tip. And the reason why I was doing that was because in Toronto, where I'm from, I would give a $10 tip, obviously, and it was customary to give a good tip. Otherwise, you're a goof, right? Same thing here. You got to give a good tip. Don't rip the people off. Otherwise, you are what they will call tecaña, and that means cheap. So you really want to, ride the balance. You don't want to tip too much. And the reason why I'm saying that is not because people don't deserve a good tip. It's just that they will start raising the prices to reflect that amount of money. And then Dominicans themselves will find it hard to pay for the services in their own country. Did you get that? Yes. Remember, you may want to do something and over tip because you are appreciating the service that you're receiving, but you got to make sure that you understand what a fair tip is by not over tipping and tipping the scales of the economy here that even the Dominicans themselves cannot live up to financially. And on top of that, sometimes when people are overpaid for a simple service, because you're comparing it to the price that you would pay in your country, sometimes they just won't work for the Dominicans any longer. And that is a very unfortunate situation, okay? Because they'll only want to work for foreigners. And then not only that, they will put themselves into a position where not all foreigners are going to pay that price either. So they're going to have to lower their prices again, and that's going to diminish their inspiration to make more money. But not only that, it will make them seem like they're trying to rip off some people and not others. Right? Because then that's where the little word gringoed comes in at. Because they're like, well, that foreigner, gringo just means foreigner. And they'll be like, well, that foreigner, gave me $5. So I'm going to charge this foreigner $5. So let's say that, there was a service that would usually cost $2. Well, a foreigner being a foreigner and on vacation, feeling great, they save their money to come here on vacation and live like a king or a queen. And they have it like that because they saved all year for it. And they really like that service. They really like that person. So what they do is they're like, oh, how much for that? Let's say coconut. Oh, the coconut's $2. Here, buddy, take $5. Right. And it's like, they'll be like, well, these are worth $5. And then before you know it, they're charging $5 to the next person on the beach. And the next person will be like, I'm not paying $5 for that. That's more than what it would be in my country. And then they're like, okay, $3. And they're like, no. And then the person selling it may say, okay, $2. And then they're selling it at the regular price. But by that time, the foreigner already has figured out that they were gringoed, and they walk away from that person feeling that they can't trust that person any longer because they tried to gringo them. Meanwhile, it's not that they tried to gringo them. In actuality, they just tried to charge a price that would give them more money in their pocket for their family. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we all do around this world, right? We all want more money, and that is fair. However, There is that balance. So you do have to find that sweet spot. If you want to tip 200 pesos more, 300 pesos more, then make it very clear that this is a tip and you're not going to be doing it every single time you're getting that service from them. There's other ways that you can give people tips as well, by giving them some maybe t-shirts or pencils and pens or socks or shoes or something that you are bringing from abroad here to give to people, gifts. And then that also goes a long way as well, because you know what, even though you may be paying them 200 pesos more, which is $4 more for a tip, let's say you're like, oh, I'm just going to give them $4 for a tip, they deserve it. That $4 still isn't going to go very far in the grand scheme of trying to buy things for the household, because things are not that cheap here for the average Dominican. Okay, so tipping is another thing. I learned that sweet spot. 3, I also learned to jump into the culture. I tried living here in the gated communities. I also really loved the notion of living where there's a pool and in a building that had guards. And then the longer I lived here, I realized that there were places that I was overpaying, because it's not like I was getting in the pool every day. Sure, it looked nice for photos if I invited people over, but I didn't invite people over enough to get those photos. And not only that, sometimes the pool, it was dirty. I had to wait for it to be cleaned. Most times I just didn't use the pool at all, because I preferred going on the beach where I could socialize and network. So I learned how to live with the locals, and I also learned how to shop like the locals. So that means my rent went way down living in the local area, and also my cost of living went down because the electricity is lower in the local area and the food is also lower priced in the local area as well. You get your fruits and your vegetables straight from the truck, and they are priced for the locals. So I found that that was one of the smart things that I did here, and I still live in the local area. And even though I help people find rentals all over Sosua, Cabarete, and Puerto Plata, and I've seen some very beautiful places and at some very awesome prices, I still have the best apartment for me. And it is in Los Charamicos, just steps to the beach. I don't have a pool. I don't have a doorman. And I definitely don't have a gated community. Okay. I am living the best life that I have ever lived. And I am so happy that I made that smart decision to live with the locals. Another thing that I realized living here in the Dominican Republic, and something that I did that was smart, I did not sleep around. It's very important, ladies. And I say ladies because a lot of guys come here for the fun of the thrill and for the pay to play. Like, let's just really put that into perspective. But when you're a woman here, you're going to get hit on a lot by a lot of different men, younger men, older men, professional men, like unemployed men, the guys that work on the beach, the guys that work in the bank. It doesn't matter. You are going to get hit on if you are a foreigner woman. And you got to keep it real with yourself, especially if you have the mama body and you look like a vulnerable target. Like you just haven't taken good care of yourself. And I'm not one to talk. I gained like a lot of weight while I've been here, and I'm in the middle of losing it. I just lost 20 pounds. By the way, side note, I exercise every Monday and Wednesday live on Facebook and TikTok until I get to my goal weight. And that's going to be probably by March when my braces are off too. So in any case, just don't sleep around. Doesn't matter how attracted you are. They are young people with young mentalities. And although many of them are more mature than the average, like let's say 30-year-old, In Toronto, a 30-year-old here may be more mature, but not to the equivalent of a 50-year-old. You know what I'm saying? These guys here are very charming, and they're very loving, and they are in it for the win it. They are in it like to win it. They are not in it for anything else except to hit that lottery. And yes, they may be attracted to you. Now, let's say you are an attractive older woman, beautiful, you got your banging BBL or maybe natural butt, maybe you're tight, you've always taken care of yourself, you look pristine, you look amazing for your age. And so you look really good with that younger guy on your arm. And he doesn't look like he's using you, because yes, there are a lot of women here who date younger men, and it's just so obvious that they're being used. But hey, the woman's getting something out of it, I'm sure. And so let's say you are pristine and nobody would be able to see that you are being used. At the end of the day, still take your time getting involved with a man. I'm going to be doing another video on relationships and talking about taking your time moving in with people and why, but I'm just going to touch lightly on it right now. Do not move anybody in too quickly. Don't go buying properties too quickly with people. Don't go buying a car for anybody. Don't go buying a motorcycle for anybody. Trust me, I have one time moved in with a Dominican very quickly, and the relationships here are very passionate in the beginning, and they are very quick. You get together with someone very quickly, especially if you're here on vacation and you're not here on a staycation, and you're here for 7 days and you meet somebody that you're like, whoa, I really like them, I want to get to know them more. You want to be very smart when it comes to relationships here. 3 months is the sweet spot. And that means if you live with them over 3 months, then they can start demanding quite a lot of things. And especially if it's a nasty relationship and you're breaking up a lot and you catch them cheating on you or stealing from you or doing whatever young people tend to do when they're desperate for money, then you got to be very careful and watch your back. There are a lot of beautiful Dominicans here, beautiful inside and out. But just like any relationships, when you get together, sometimes people's characters change. And especially when, you're with a younger person who's very materialistic and they want the best running shoes, like the best sneakers or the best clothes or the best purses, or their hair done all the time, their nails done all the time. You really are going to feel like that is your child as opposed to your partner. So be very careful when it comes to relationships and moving too quickly. I think that's something that I didn't do. I didn't move quickly with too many men. I experienced life here, but I've been single now for 4 years. And there's a reason behind that. It's because it's very difficult for me to meet the men that come here for the women, because, well, they're not here for a 52-year-old Canadian woman, right? And then when they do get tired of the young women because they have been battered all to pieces and used all up, they're tired, and then they want to come to a self-sufficient woman like myself getting business done. And I'm like, no, you're too used up. So it's not in my interest, put it that way. And I really like older men. So the Dominican men, most of them are taken. They get married and then they may do their cheating or whatever. But by the time they're 50, usually it's out of their system. Those are the smart things that I did here in the Dominican Republic. So if you could do that as well, then you're going to be on a good road. Take care, everyone. Look out for my next video. It may be on an apartment that's for rent. It may be on an Airbnb. It may be a random video, but I am going to make the video about relationships because I think that's a really sticky topic that a lot of people should understand. Please take a moment to subscribe if this information made you feel like you gained a gem of information. Go ahead and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that like button. Giving you guys a lot of homework right now. I know if you are already a subscriber, I appreciate you so much. You have helped my channel grow, and I make these videos for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, my name is Cerise Fairfax. Enjoy your day. All right, guys, as promised, we're going to talk about this book that I wrote called Sosua Staycation. But it's not just for people who are on staycations here, like expats. It's for you even if you're just coming here for a quick visit. It is packed with information. For instance, there's chapters about driving, taxes, places to live, places to buy, schools, and there's also even a chapter on how to pack here in the Dominican Republic, about mosquitoes and other pests that you may want to know about. There's a lot going on in this book, guys, and I would love for you to have a free copy. Give me a shout. The first 3 people that comment down below where you're watching this video from will get a free copy. But please make sure you email me at cerisefairfax@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate you. Huge hugs, loads of love, and big blessings.